Absolutely huge episode. One of my favorite episodes, this one, everyone. I hope you enjoy. We went really deep on a number of different things. One of them was my recent trip to Dubai. I'm currently in Dubai, and just around how difficult it's been to adapt to a new country. Fell in the traps of using my phone a lot, finding I felt a little bit lonely, was using my phone to cover up some of those lonely sort of feelings, and how I got away from that, how I've sort of moved on and realized that dopamine loops that keeps you in this like addictive nature, and how it can really cause additional stress and pressure on yourself, which you don't really need. So we talk about all that, how to get away from the smartphone addiction. If you've got it, please tune into this episode. Also being vulnerable with each other and the value you can get, and being self-aware of areas within yourself and at work, about how being vulnerable and open, people can actually help you on that journey and open up to new different areas of thinking. So yeah, really, really good. Bergs, what else do we talk about?
Mate, I love this episode. We went so deep. We learned a lot about each other, helped each other out. We're there for each other. And it just really, just the struggles within life. You know, we talk about a lot of stuff and mindset, but we're not always there. And we talk about our experiences, the hard things that we try to do, how we actually tackle them, what difficulty levels we're playing on. This episode was just tops for me, man. It was awesome.
Amazing. Bergs, as you mentioned, I am getting absolutely smashed out here in the desert. It is hot. I'm in Dubai.
Mate, you still look pasty as. You've got no tan whatsoever. What are you doing? You're hiding in the shade? You're hiding in your hotel?
I don't know where my... well, for starters, going outside for more than 10 minutes is just it's a train wreck. And I have this big bottle of sunscreen I take everywhere so I don't get burned. However, I miss the inside of my belly button. You can't see it. The inside of my belly button is burnt. And
What are you wearing, like a bloody crop top or something with your stomach hanging out, mate?
No, it's by the pool.
What are you doing? How are you dressing over there?
I was by
Is it like SPF 4000 or what are you doing? What are we rocking here, mate?
I was by the pool, mate. I was by the pool. Thought I'd get a bit of tan on, a bit of sunscreen up, missed the inside of my belly button, and now it's sore as hell.
You're like every tourist ever. This is like when people from the UK come to Australia and they're just flat out lobsters. So you're by the pool in the desert and you're like, she'll be right, mate. No worries.
Dude, I was literally like, they had the umbrellas and I went out for like 4 minutes and got absolute crispy because I should not be in the sun.
Mate, okay. So you're in Dubai. I can't believe you actually went. Tell me about the journey there, mate. How did you get out there? Was it horrendous? Was it all right? Did you make it?
Yeah.
Well, you made it, but did you make it in one piece?
So, came out to Dubai, been here for nearly a week now. Came over here on Saturday as an overnight flight. And I've come over here for some crypto conferences. So I was paid to speak at an event, meeting with investors, meeting partners, doing media, doing all sorts of stuff. Dubai is a really growing crypto area. So, there's a lot going on here. So I thought I'd come over and meeting a lot of potential investors, a lot of capital over here. So it's just good to be over here. But, I was second guessing coming here, Bergs. Like, I don't, for any of our listeners that have been to Dubai, it's a different place. And I'm not going to lie, the first couple of days were fucking rocky, man. It was because I came over here on grand final day. So grand final day traditionally for me is a massive day. Always catch up with my mates. 20, 30 of us catch up. It's a big day. We're on the sauce. We're having a great time. Watching the footy. And for the first time, I was over in Dubai. I couldn't get KO Sports. I couldn't load it up. Wouldn't work anywhere. I was tired. I was just like, fuck this. I don't want to be here. Get me home.
Game was shit anyway, mate. Don't worry.
Game was shit. But honestly, the first 2 or 3 days was tough. And I think it was most tough. I definitely felt a sense of loneliness and sense of like a long way away from anything I know. And, it was a new place, uncomfortable, things in a different language, food's different. It just made me feel disconnected, I think is the word.
Yeah.
And sort of rattled a little bit. And I think that what was like amplified by that was, jet lag, couldn't really sleep. I was on a different time zone. It was, it's just all a big mix.
Culture shock.
Yeah. Don't really know anyone over here. So it was a lot, right? So, what I did was the first 3 or 4 days, I found myself trying to feel some sort of connection. So I found myself going on social media a lot. I was on Instagram, going on TikTok, I was going on like Snapchat. I was just like, Twitter, spending a lot of time on social media in my downtime just because that was the only thing that was really making me feel like I was like not normal, but still connected at
still connected, yeah,
at home. and I had a bit of time to journal and realize that, like, okay, I'm here for a long time. I need to fucking get my shit together. Like, I can't just do this. So what I started to, I got my routine in order. So like one night I smashed a melatonin, slept for 12 hours, just to get my like body in order. And that was good. Woke up a good time, and then, you know, meditated and journaled. And when I was journaling, I started to really get that self-awareness back of, you know, what was going on, and realized that I was using social media and my phone to have that connection. It was that sort of dopamine hit, right? So
yeah.
I also was journaling and talking to myself around, like, I felt a similar way when I was in the US. So when I went to the US alone a few months ago, when I first went to New York, that was after I, you know, recently broke up with my ex-girlfriend. I felt the similar feeling of this, like, really sort of lonely, solo traveling, new environment, new place. But I remembered it disappeared after 3 or 4 days. It like, it was intense, but it got better. So I reminded myself of that, and by like Wednesday or Tuesday this week, after 4 or 5 days, it disappeared. And now a week on, you know, what I've done is really honed in on going to the gym each morning. I've been going to the pool and journaling and really just like and then I screwed it around. I like to see places when I get to different locations to really get a feel for things. And I think after 4 or 5 days, I finally have sort of settled and starting to actually enjoy it. Because one of the other things I did was realize around this social media stuff. And it was funny, like I don't know what I was doing. I was like, I think I was getting a massage or something. And during that, I was like, you know, massage is a funny way of, like, sometimes I get these really, like, nearly hallucinations, like sort of deep meditation when you're so relaxed and you go into this state of like, like, nearly not unconscious, but your conscious mind is starting to go into this different world. And I actually started to feel, this was early in the week, I felt sad. It was like this depressive feeling. It was really intense. I felt really shit. And I was like, wow, this is fascinating. And what I realized, I think it was like this attachment to my phone, or attachment to constant dopamine, when I stopped and just did nothing for an hour, my brain was craving more of it, and it wasn't getting it. So it started to have that drop off, like like an addiction, right?
Come down.
I was having a come down, and that for me was like a oh fuck moment. Like, you know, I know that I have used, while I'm traveling, my phone, I guess, as a way of decreasing the feeling of loneliness, rather than sitting in the feeling and being okay with it and moving on. And, you know, because I like, don't get me wrong, I love to be on my own. I don't like talking to people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm much rather to travel solo. But in moments where I go on in periods, I'd say I sort of fall off my momentum or my daily routine. And when I lose that daily routine, I start eating bad. I don't go to the gym. I start using my phone more. I get shit sleep. That's when I find myself going down this path of not really feeling my best. I go from like a 7 or an 8 to like a 4. And I was listening to Aman's podcast yesterday, Alfalfa podcast. So they were talking about this around like, you know, how people are sometimes binary, and I'm certainly this binary, and like thinking that you're either good and you're in the zone and you're killing it, or you're shit. You're either an 8 or a 10, or you're a 2 out of 10 per day, right? And that, I feel as though I'm in that binary state. Like, I feel as though I'm a very sort of, I have an addictive behavioral mindset, you know, like I am very like on all the time. I want to do a million things at once. I'm always like go, 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 go. And that go, go, go addictive behavioral mindset, when I'm not feeling my best, turns into phone. It turns into laziness. It turns into eating shit. It turns into like just this constant like dopamine trying like rush.
Yeah, you're seeking it out
in non-productive, you know, sort of sessions. So one real lesson that I'm starting to really focus on is not trying to get to a 10 and not getting to having a bad day and letting that be the reason why I stay at a 2 or a 3 for days on end. I want to become better in understanding that it's okay, we'll slip up from time to time, we'll use our phone a bit much, we'll have shitty food, but then let's get back on the train. Let's get back to an 8. Let's not sit and mope and stay in that lower, feeling.
All right, I absolutely love this because you've just described me to a T, where it's either I'm a fucking god or I'm a piece of shit.
Yes.
Like there is no in between whatsoever. And I struggle with this all the fucking time, right? And this is the thing, why are we like this as humans? And I know the theory behind it and I know what I should be doing. But if you miss like one meal, you're like, you eat a bad meal. Oh, my life is fucked. I might as well just eat shit for the rest of my life, Or if you miss a workout as well, and it's like, why the fuck am I thinking like that? Whereas if I spoke to any other person, I'm like, bruh, if you get it right 80% of the time, you're fucking crushing it. If you get 80% of your workouts in, or you eat clean 80% of the time, or cook 80% of your meals, you're fucking there. Or if when you're investing, you get it right 80% of the time, you're an absolute gangster. Okay, I want to bring something up now. So we were talking about creating a new segment, right? Yeah. And this segment is the hard thing of the week. We're going to do that right now because I definitely had a hard thing of the week and you've had quite a few as well. Yeah. And I want to get back to your Dubai one, but my hard thing of the week. So I do a lot of hard shit in my life and I make sure that I do it. I'm always doing it. And this is going to sound so fucking lame, but this was my hard thing of the week. And it was working out, right? So I wanted, every second day I'll work out and I'll lift. Wasn't feeling well the second day, wasn't feeling well the third day. Comes to the fourth day, I'm already feeling like fucking trash. I hate myself. I've been on this awesome routine. I've been lifting. I've been feeling great. And I'm like, oh, you haven't lifted. You're a lazy piece of shit. You're going to get fat again. You're going to lose all your strength. Your back's going to hurt. Fuck you. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Am I really like, this mental struggle was insane. So I'm like, am I not feeling well? Or because my daughter was sick, am I just a lazy piece of shit and this is a mental thing? So I get myself ready, I start stretching, put my shoes on, go to the gym, my garage where I work out. And I start lifting and I'm like, fuck, it's a bit heavy. But of course, the fucking ego comes in and it starts playing up. So I'm lifting heavy and I do one set and I'm like, oh, I did a set, I can do this. Go to the second set. And I was like, fucking hell. Like I started to feel dizzy and lightheaded. And I'm like, look, I'm just going to stop this for a while. I'm going to go inside. And an hour went by. I lost my appetite. I'm like, right, I'm definitely crook. I shouldn't be lifting. But seriously, man, like the mental game between you're lazy, you need to do more, you're going to lose everything you have if you don't do this thing, you're a piece of shit, you might as well just fucking be fat your whole life. And the ego playing into it where you need to lift, you should be doing this, why aren't you doing it? And even things like David Goggins is playing in my head where it's like, listen to your little inner bitch, motherfucker. You need to shut that motherfucker up. And I'm like, am I just being a bitch here? But then afterwards, this went on for hours. Afterwards, I'm like, okay, I am crook. I need to cut myself some slack. Even if I take a week off, I'll just get back to it. I'll lower the weights a little bit and I'll be able to get back in. And the hard thing of the week for me was actually getting there, starting that workout, but then going through that process and understanding what it was. And normally I'll be able to see that clear as day, but when you're in the funk, it is so super hard, man.
Dude, I resonate so much with that. Not from a workout perspective. Just a quick side note, I'm actually feeling fit at the moment. I looked in the mirror the other day. I hadn't actually looked myself in the mirror the other day.
Are you like, you're tired?
Yeah, I was like, I was wearing a tank top because I fucking haven't worn a tank top in Australian winter. I was like, oh shit, I'm actually looking pretty good. But that mental model that you just described, I have for work, and I feel
same.
Yeah, okay, so you're fucked. You're completely fucked. But that mental thing of going, you lazy bastard, you haven't, you've got this to-do list, you haven't done, you've worked 12 hours, but you haven't done 16. All the success of the business is on your shoulders. That you're the only person that's going to, like, if you don't work more, that it's all going to fail. Like, you are the only person that can do this. And if you're not doing more, then you're a piece of shit, basically. Like, that self-talk is so intense. And I have that all the time. And I physically am incapable of taking time off. And I feel as though that thought and those thoughts is so counterintuitive and counterproductive to actually looking after yourself and putting in more productive, efficient hours than working 100 hours a week and you're completely cooked and you're sick and you feel like shit and you're stressed and you're tired and you're negative and depressed. But I physically cannot, at this point in time, get myself to that stage. It is very difficult.
All right. So before, when you were talking about when you are either a 1 or a 10 and you should be somewhere around 8, this is something you want to implement, how do you know you're an 8? Have you thought about this? Like, you don't have a strategy yet?
It's definitely not a metric. I can't give it it's a feeling for me. So, if I was to describe an 8 day for me, if I'm rating myself, I get an 8 out of 10. I have a good sleep. I sleep at least 8 hours. I haven't used social media the night before bed because I get a shit sleep when I fucking scroll before bed. I get a good sleep. I shower. I meditate. I journal. I go to the gym. And I don't have any meetings or start work until at least 9 o'clock. So I have time and my head's not convoluted. I don't use social media until about lunchtime. I'll check. And I have a good productive day. And I feel generally good. I'm out of the house. I've eaten good food. I've had a good cup of coffee. And it's positive. And I don't use more than at least a couple hours on social media. Because I feel as though that's where it really... Social media is and just phone in general is such a, it just makes you feel really cloudy and gluggy. I don't know if that's a good descriptive word.
It's not you, it's someone else. It's other people's thoughts in your head. Yeah. And you have no chance against the apps, and it's too many thoughts beamed into your head. If you notice about everything you just said then, Ben, 99% of it was not work related.
Yeah.
Right? It was sleep, meditate, off social media, time to myself. None of that was I want to achieve this or this with work. Right? And if we're talking about, I want to go hard at work, I want to do all these things, none of them were goals or outcome driven or anything like that. It was about getting your own physical, mental health and things you need during the day. And that'll automatically make you successful at work. It'll allow you to balance those things.
Yes. And it's fascinating because you're 100% right, and that is right. Because if I don't have a good sleep, or I don't meditate, or I don't journal, or I eat shit, or I'm on social media in the morning, the day is over, mate. I generally just have a shit day. I feel as though it's such a fine balance in my life anyway, with just the velocity of shit that I feel as though it's going on in my life, with work and stuff. It only takes a small thing. I don't meditate. I didn't meditate this morning because I had a shit sleep, and then I had to start early, so I went to the pool, whatever. But then I'm in a rut. I feel as though I can't get out. I'm back to, the day's done. I'm fucking written off the day before it's even started.
Yeah, that's exactly it. When you get to that feeling, and there's those loops in your brain start playing, that code running in your head, and it's automatically gone to the bad day code, and you start spiraling downward. Yeah. And this is the whole Tony Robbins thing as well. If you want to play in the prime time, you got to prime yourself for prime time. What are the things you need to do in order to be the Ben Simpson that you want to be? So in work, I've had 16 years of working with fucking nuclear people, right? Where they're surgeons, they're physios, they're researchers, they're everything. And they sprint marathons. That's what they do. They all burn out. It's absolutely crazy. And I brought this into Collective Shift. And I specifically remember the first 3 months I had COVID and I still went super hard. We went through my quarterly review and I fucking smashed it. Let's be honest, man. I crushed it. I exceeded everything I wanted to do. And I even wrote it all down. And I'm like, look, this is what I've done. I wanted to achieve this. And I achieved fucking 4 times as much. And I still remember feeling like I could have done more. And I'm like, you lazy piece of shit.
I know.
You fucking lazy prick. That
Where
one
does that
day,
come from?
why you could have worked more during
Where
COVID.
does that come from? Why do we have that?
So this comes from, for me, it's a learned behavior, definitely from my mum, and also from some of my mentors and my boss. I think it's almost self-selecting, where if it comes across your plate, you better swing. And it's also like an Asian kind of pride thing, where you always try to do your best, you always try to please. And also innately, I've been given all these gifts that my parents have sacrificed. Why should I sit on my ass? I should be going as hard as I can. The problem I have is I like going really hard, and I don't stop until I get sick, basically, you know, and I've set up my life in that way. So what I've had to do to combat this is set the goals ahead of time. So every week I will set up, these are the things I want to do in the morning, and these are the must-haves in my week. And if it has been a good week at work, these are the things that I want to achieve. Because otherwise, if I'm going hard and I'm talking to people and I'm building product and I'm talking to customers and I'm doing strategy and we're doing all of this stuff and I'm going to EO, I can't gauge if that's a good week or not. You know, it's just me doing things, and me being in motion feels like work and feels like achieving, although during that time I may not be achieving that specific goal. But if I write the goals down and be like, I want to release our NFT product in 2 weeks, these are the things I need to do. If I'm achieving those things along the way and I only achieve that thing, I'm doing really well. Because I cannot decide that in the moment or when I'm super revved up and my brain is on fire. That's not a good way to do it.
Yeah, I agree, and I feel as though, so for me, right, I don't think work's not the problem for me. Like I feel as though I'm actually really productive. Like especially the last couple of weeks, you know, I've got two main focuses: capital raising and the website rebuild. Right, and I am pushing on all fronts. There's a lot going on that I'm doing, you know, and pushing a lot of that, whether it be new chip, accelerator, meetings, investor deck, strategy, pitch calls, executive summaries, like, you know, there's a lot. And then there's the website strategy and everything else that's going on. I feel as though I'm very productive. Where I struggle is the wind down. If I'm going at, you know, sixth gear all day, by the time the day ends, one, I don't want the day to, in terms of like, I can't stop the day because I just keep going through the to-do list.
Yep.
Or I go, yeah, right, I'm done. I'm completely cooked. And then I go straight to my phone to keep the brain going at that level because it's craving that pace. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's where...
Yeah, definitely. And I have a lot of sleepless nights, and I'll work nights as well. Like, because of that, right? And it doesn't happen as often as it used to. And just as you start in the morning, for me, what has worked is having a wind down as well. Yeah. Like having those must-haves during the day and just at least doing those things, because your day is always going to get blown up. And if I'm able to achieve those, or even if I don't, just mentally acknowledge that, hey, even if I get it right 80% of the time, or even 70%, I'm doing really well. Yeah. Like today could have been a write-off. I got some stuff done. I didn't get done what I needed to do. My to-do list is always going to be there, right? It's going to be never ending. There's going to be 10 work for every one Berg. That is something I have to accept. But in the afternoon, or like around 4 or 5 o'clock, I'll kind of start to wind down. At about 4 o'clock, I'll turn kind of slack off and I'll do some stuff that I need to do, but then I'll physically disconnect. So I earn with my mind, so I relax with my hands. So I'll go and I'll make some pizzas, or I'll go for a walk, or take my daughter to the park and stare at leaves and throw honky nuts in the water. Yeah. Something to physically make me disconnect, and I leave my phone at home.
Yeah, I like that. I know you've been
right. So there's like like going outside, getting sun on your face, having sitting away from the screen, looking at further things, or going for a drive. That physical kind of disconnection, that works for me. And then wind down, spend time with my family, and read books. Try not to get on too many screens. Have my phone somewhere else. Only calls can come through, nothing pings. And it's bloody hard to do, but once you do it, your life just is so much better.
Yeah, I think for me, the things that have started to work in terms of switching off is trying to go and do things that are outside of the office or home. Like you said, like, you know, be able to play top golf or playing golf or going to the pool or going to have dinner on my own somewhere, you know, where I'm just like outside and in a different environment.
Yeah. But it's hard because we're playing the long-term game. We're knowledge workers and we have lots of conversations with lots of people. We're constantly ideating and crafting strategy, and you can't turn that off. There is no separation. It does not exist. Or you'll see something like out in nature, and that'll make you think about a work problem that you had, and that will come back to your brain, right? It is getting more and more complicated and challenging to deal with.
Do you time block in a sense of Aman was talking about, I really like this idea on his podcast around time blocking. So, he checks social media between 4 to 6, this isn't accurate, this is not what he does, but the explanation was, for example, you time block. So you're on Slack between these 2 hours. You check social media in the afternoon. You do emails here. You do this strategy work here. And it's all, so you're not doing 6 different things at once. Because I think that's the other thing, like multitasking, checking like Telegram goes off, then I've got an email, then I'm trying to do this thing. It's like just constantly like doing 4 or 5 things at once. He's probably spiraling that dopamine and that fast-paced nature of like, holy shit, like I got to keep going.
Think about it. You're shortening those dopamine loops, and with all the apps that you have open and all the things that you're doing. So I absolutely time block it, but I actually do the reverse, where it's the time I don't want to have those things. So during the workday, I do 0 social media. I might jump on LinkedIn for like 10 minutes or something if I have to post something, but it's 0 social media during the workday. I'll have, one thing I'm bad at is I have Slack open, but I'm always in high contact with the team. But then I do close Slack down if I need, an hour or 2 to do specific stuff. Facebook. So I go on Facebook maybe once every couple of days. It's on desktop only. I don't have the app, so it never pings at me. And I'll set a 10-minute timer. So that's the maximum that I'm allowed on there.
Timing yourself.
And that just shortens that so much that people now know not to contact me there. I'm never there. I won't respond. And guess what? Nothing fucking happened. If it's urgent, they'll give me a call.
Dude, I like it.
And
I like that.
Within that 10 minutes, I need to get done what I need to get done. And it only allows every 2 days that 10-minute hit to my brain. So I'm never thinking about Facebook at all. Never.
One thing I've done, so I've deleted Twitter and deleted LinkedIn. I do have Instagram. It's tough because for me, I definitely, am consuming too much, but I use it as an outbound platform for the business. So I need to work on that. But one app that I've got recently is this, on my laptop, is a focus app. So you click the start focusing button and it blocks all social media. So rather than, it just allows you to really hone in and do that work that you need to do, and then go, maybe you can check it every couple of hours if you need to, but for a few minutes and jump back into it.
So this week I was feeling it. I was feeling a bit of pressure. Haven't really gotten away for a while. So I went for 2 nights. I worked the kind of Tuesday, and then Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday and Thursday, I went 2 nights into the city, just a quick getaway with the missus. Stayed at a hotel, and daughter went to the grandparents. And the first night we were there, the missus just looks at me and she's just like, "Are you feeling twitchy?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "What the fuck is that?" And I'm like, "It's life. Like, we're feeling like disconnected. Like we have to, like we literally just got there, put our bags down, and we're just lying on the bed. And it feels like, oh, I'm not being productive. I need to do something. I need to check this app. I need to do some work. What if this person needs me?" And it is seriously like coming down from addiction. It was fucked. And I'm like, this is fucked. Let's have a quick shower. We're just getting out there. So we got out there, went to the river, did some stuff, got an ice cream, and just started experiencing life. Like we filled it with something else. And then it took a good like day and a half for that to just go away and not look at our phones and not feel that I'm a lazy piece of shit. I need to be productive. And, you know, we're human beings. We're not human doing. We don't always have to be doing shit, and we need to be okay with not doing shit. But to deprogram yourself because you've been so conditioned is one of the hardest things. And you can do it by going away and disconnecting, but then how do you keep that? That is such a challenge, and it's going to get worse over time.
So the podcast I was listening to yesterday on the That's Helpful podcast with Ed, she had a scientist or a doctor on, and said that addictions last for basically 3 months. If you really want to break an addiction, like a phone addiction, it can take over 3 months for that trigger in your brain to reset and not crave it anymore. And one of the things that humans naturally crave more than anything, and the most natural form of dopamine, is actually when other humans recognize us for something. So one of the best, or the best ways to break an addiction is actually Alcohol's Anonymous. And the reason because of that is because you're in a peer group and you get there every week And the thing that creates the dopamine to beat your dopamine addiction is the fact that you haven't had any alcohol in that week, so your peers recognize you for doing that, and that feeling of being, like satisfied about other people's opinions is the thing that breaks your addiction. How crazy is that?
That's so interesting, where it's not even, it's almost like a replacement of a better thing. Like your addiction will never go away.
Yeah.
It's an unmet need. You met that need with alcohol or whatever it may be, and now you're meeting it with other people. And I had this meme, and it's like, I'll just read it out because it's not a fancy one. My parents are age 22. We should move to a new city and buy a larger home so our 2 children can have space to play and develop. Me at age 22. My meme got 11 likes. And like, this had me in stitches, but like 3 seconds later, I almost fucking cried because Jesus Christ, what the fuck is happening to us?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, holy shit. And can you imagine okay. So I grew up with the internet. My childhood when I was really young, didn't have the internet. Got the internet when I was probably 13. And, it wasn't as hyper as it is now. It wasn't social. I'm not a digital native. You probably are. You might have just escaped it a little bit. But honestly, man, like the people in the world that they're growing up in now, just the attention spans. When I go out to dinner, like people are on dates and they're literally just on their phones. And I just want to slap them and be like, fucking look in each other's eyes and talk to each other and like make a connection. And then you got these shorter and shorter dopamine loops. Like we have people that come into our group and they're like, it's been 3 days. Why am I not rich? Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. Like, and even relationships like, oh, this one thing happened and it's not perfect. It's not a happy ending. It's been like 1 week. That's it. It's over. And then people aren't connecting. They aren't going to have as much children. They're not going to have long lasting relationships. This is a huge societal problem where it's moved from our biggest diseases were heart attack and stroke from basically smoking and eating too much and living unhealthy lifestyles to anxiety and depression. Like how fucked that anxiety and depression are the diseases of my generation and your generation. How fucking depressing, mate.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Well, these apps, they're built to hook you in, right? The reasons why the likes are there and the views are there and the notifications are there is because it's, the more attention you give those apps, the more time you spend there, the more money they make.
Exactly right. And I really wonder what's going to happen where if in the future they're going to have to somehow police apps or make more benefit, or tax them or make more benefit for the people that actually, are on the receiving end. Like there's literally like addiction for internet addiction, gaming addiction, on and on it goes. Like these are they're so accessible now. And it's almost, the challenging part about this is you're almost excluded if you don't participate. But when you participate, there's no rate limiter on that. You just go completely in. Now, I wanted to ask you something. So I caught up with my nephew for Brekkie, and he's an absolute lad. He's getting amongst it. He's reading the books that I read, man. He's so ahead of his time. He's 21. And he was talking about you. And I was like, yeah, I agree. He's an absolute prick. I don't know why I work with him, Nah, honestly, man, he fucking loves you. He wants to meet you. And he was saying every time he tunes into the pod, like, you're doing a new thing. You're absolutely playing on hard mode. You're a sucker for personal growth. And you're just nuclear. You're like, now I'm flying to Queensland. Oh, and I'm doing a keynote speech, and I've got a TEDx talk, and I'm speaking with Juddy. Now I'm going to Dubai for like an investment thing. Mate, it's absolutely insane. Do you ever reflect on this and be like, am I playing on the too hard mode, or is it just right? Or how is that for you, man? Because you like throwing yourself in the deep end. You enjoy it. You thrive in there. But mate, is it all a bit too much?
It's a good question. No, I don't look.
Would you even know if it was too much?
No, it's not enough. Here we
go.
Like, it's not a. It's not a question of like, I shouldn't. Like the TEDx talk or the Juddy thing. It's not like a question. I'm actually relatively confident around those things. Yes, I'm nervous and like I get scared about going up there and doing that. But it's like, it's not a feeling of like I shouldn't be doing this. My feelings, I don't reflect on it like that. I reflect as if, what is the thing that I need to do to fucking win right now? And there's a lot of things I'm not doing. Then that's what I need to be doing. It's constantly the next thing and the, focusing on like, how do we win? It's not even it's honestly not even a thought. The only consideration I have, like, for example, I'm here in Dubai, is like, should I be in Dubai? Is Dubai the best place that I could be right now to win? Should I be here? Should I actually be in America? Or should I be back in Australia? Where is the highest ROI of my time and our capital spent for us to win? That's honestly all I think about.
So from an outsider looking in, you always do the hard thing. And you're like, what is it going to take for me to win? And I need to do that thing. Yeah. So you'll literally be like, what is the hard thing? All right, I'm going to go and do that. It's absolutely crazy.
It's funny. It's funny
so
you
crazy.
Say that. That's a good, like, that you. It's interesting for me to hear you ask that question, because that's not the question I ask myself. Nor do I even think about like that idea of leveling up. I haven't even thought about that. It's more of just that's what I've got to fucking do.
Yeah, that's what you need to do to win. And okay, let's say you're like, this is what I need to do to win. Is there any, fuck, I don't want to do that, or that's just too hard? Or is it more, how do I do that thing?
Oh, there's definitely like, that's hard. Like, the thing I need to do right now, we're raising capital, right? And it's fucking hard, and it's defeating, and it's like, makes you feel shit, because you just get, all these no's and, questions being asked of you and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, sometimes you want to fucking jump off the balcony, not literally, but it's tough. And no, I don't want to do it, but it's the thing I have to do.
That is the thing that makes you a winner. And this is the same thing that I saw with Fiona as well, where it's like, what is the hardest thing that I can do right now? I don't want to do it. It fucking sucks, but I'm going to do it because it's the thing I need to do in order to win. And it's the thing because it fucking sucks. Like, that is how you know.
Okay, so here is an actual real life example that I've just like realized and remembered. So it was Tuesday night. I just put in like a 12, 13 a day. I had my webinar from 8 till 9:30 p.m. I hadn't eaten. I went and had dinner. I was in bed by 11:30. I had a mastermind that I had to attend to for fundraising at 5 a.m. It was currently 11:30 p.m. I had to get up at 4:30 a.m. So 5 hours sleep. And I fucking do not function on anything less than like 7 or 8 hours. I feel like shit. And probably 4 to 7 times I consider going, nah, I'm not going. I'm not going. Fuck that. What could I do with that extra sleep? Like, that's going to be so shit. We're going to sit there and do God knows what. But it's a compulsory requirement to get through the new chip accelerator. And the only thing that got me through was the fact that right now my number one priority is to raise capital. How do I raise capital? I need to go through a new chip and fill this accelerator. How do I do that? I need to attend this mastermind. It's like, fuck it, right? I'm fucking getting up. So the alarm was set at 4:30, and we got up 5 hours later and did the mastermind. And I did not want to do that at all.
Okay, so I have this all the time. Like, there's always something I'll commit to, and I'll either be going too hard, or I'm constantly underslept anyway, but I'll just not want to go, and I'll be like, fuck this, how do I get out of it? And I think about like 20 times, I'm like, I'm going to go, it's going to suck, this is going to happen, my time's better spent here. And I've used a technique from How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, and it's, okay, you don't want to do the thing, or you're worried about the thing, or something's happening. What is the worst possible outcome? And the worst possible outcome is usually something like, it's going to suck, everyone's going to hate me, and I'm going to shit my pants. That's probably like the worst outcome, right? Like, that's the worst thing I could think of. It's like doing a talk of shitting myself. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's never going to happen. And then like mentally, so what's the worst case scenario? Second, can I accept that? Yeah, it's fine. I don't give a fuck. And then immediately after that, I'm like, okay, how can I make that better? So after I've thought about the worst case scenario of like, going to this thing and not knowing people, and people are going to be weird to me and they're going to hate me and all this kind of stuff, in reality, I wouldn't give a shit anyway. Like, I don't bother. I'll just turn around and go home. Great. Worst case scenario. How do I make that better? I could hook up with someone beforehand, talk to them, meet up, learn something about some people there, anything that I want to do, and then just go and do the thing. If I've already accepted the worst case scenario, it's not going to be that. And it's never that. Like, yeah, it sucks and you feel crap in the moment, but it's really choosing between what you want now and what you want most. And if you don't take those shots with the things that are going to move you towards what you want most, you will never achieve your goals. That is the thing that separates people from that actually achieve their goals from those that don't.
Yeah, dude, I think
it's fucking hard though, isn't it?
It's definitely hard. And then I think the mindset is a big one. Like just trying to believe. But in saying that, like, you know, I think there's a downside of that. Like I've in overworking recently and doing a lot of these things, I get quite negative, and I think that's a aftermath of me feeling like I'm overworked, I'm tired, I'm stressed, and I get negative. So there is like, you know, to the listeners at home, that like I don't want to portray myself as this fucking like, you know, guy that just like win at all costs and, you know, we're all fucking la-di-da, working hard and like build like a brick shithouse mentally great, because that's the absolute opposite. I feel as though that sort of mindset comes with so many downsides that I'm still trying to work through. You know, the constantly feeling like you need to do more, constantly feeling as though you're not doing enough, constantly feeling like stressed because you're not achieving that, and then it's this loop, right?
Yeah. During the week, I was actually very, very proud of you, man. You dropped a voice message in the exec chat to the rest of us. And I don't know, do you remember what you said? You're basically describing what you were feeling. So I think you were walking down the street or something, pick up your phone, drop us a voice message. And it was something to the effect of, boys, we've got so much going on. This is just fucking ridiculous. This is happening. This is bullshit. I've got to do this fucking thing. I'm in this really fucking negative mindset. I'm down about these things. It's completely fucked. And just to be able to talk to your fellow executives and say that is fucking amazing. Like this very rarely happens. And what was even more impressive was the response. Because straight away we were like, bro, like even Aman got in first. He's like, bro, I feel you, man. This shit sucks. This is happening. That is happening. Let us know how we can help. Let's jump on a call. Just immediately kind of coming to your aid and validating what you are feeling. And I've seen this in other businesses and even ones that I've worked for where people don't even want to tell other people how they're feeling. Like people are going through divorces or health challenges, and the culture is such that they want to put on a brave face. They don't want to say I'm struggling. They don't want to say things are hard. They don't want to be like, I've been going so hard, I haven't slept. I've got so much pain in my body that I've got a negative outlook because I've got all this niggling stuff going on. And it's more like, well, suck it up, get on with it. Yeah. This is your fucking job. This is what you need to do. You need to sort it out yourself. So my point here is like being able to have open communication with your peers and your team, and being willing to get vulnerable and doing that. And you've done it a couple of times since, and just letting us know how you're feeling and the things that are going on is just awesome. Because otherwise we'll see, like you're spot on. I do the same thing. We talked about this before the pod actually. And we're like, oh fuck, we should save this for the pod. And it's like, you know, when you're overworked, you're stressed, you're burnt out, you haven't slept, you haven't exercised, you're eating bad food. You know, there's an element of, for me and for you as well, it's a thing called hypervigilance, where you're always on the lookout for certain things. And because a lot of things are out of your control, you grab a specific thing and you make sure it's perfect because you can control it. And why isn't this thing done? And this little thing there. And you kind of like, you've pointed out a couple of things in the business, and I'm like, this isn't very Ben, what's going on here? And I'm a piece of shit, so I take it out on my missus. I'm like, why is that thing over there? Why has this happened? And she's just like, you're a fucking idiot. She gives it to me because she's fantastic, right? But you know what I mean? Like, it's like when you're not looking, doing all those things where you need to be Ben and you feel comfortable and you feel loose and you feel like you can do those things, you're kind of hyper vigilant. You start to go to that place.
Well, I think for me, what I get from being open about how I'm feeling and different things is a different perspective on A, the situation, and B, how I'm actually thinking. So the last couple of weeks, what I've gotten from you and Aman is so much support and sort of gratitude about where we're currently at and the things that are going on. And yes, it is stressful and there is a lot of shit going on. So first of all, that was like, okay, cool. Like, it's not just me that thinks this is fucking complete chaos. You know, there's a lot going on, like there's other guys too. And then there was also steps and, things that you could help me with, you know, so that was really helpful. But then second of all, like more recently around the negativity aspect, you know, by me opening up and then getting a response back from you guys, it's like, okay, yes, there's all this stuff going on, but look at all this other shit that's going on that I totally forgot about. And that's another way of going.
Yes.
And then I'm like, oh, maybe I'm looking at this in a wrong way. Maybe I'm actually sliding to the negative here.
And you think about your frame of reference. You flew out to Dubai on Saturday, landed like 5 a.m., jumped in, had like 3 minutes sleep, went to a conference for 2 days by yourself. And we'll talk about the conference in a sec because that just sounds wild. And then you've been doing all this stuff. You're physically removed from the team. You've got all these investors telling you, oh, now's not the time to invest. Why isn't your company doing this? Why is this happening? All of that really affects your frame of reference and your mindset. And when you come back to us, we're like, hang on, we're doing all these things. We're doing really well. Yeah, we don't have the outcome we want yet, but we're doing the correct activities. And it helps to be around those people and to reinforce that as well. Because otherwise, if you bring that mindset to the team, you're the one that sets the tone and direction. That's going to affect the way the rest of the team feels as well.
Totally agree.
That was just a good way to field it. So hang on. Have you got anything more to say on this, or can we move on to... All right. First of all, let's go on to the flight, because you mentioned you went on an A380, and I want to know all about it. Tell me about it.
It has been a goal of mine to get on the A380. My grandfather used to be a pilot. When I was younger, I always used to want to be a pilot. So getting on the A380 was a bit of a little bit of a fangirl moment. I was flying premium economy.
Look out. Big spender.
Big spender. And it was, dude, it was like a hotel. So we flew Emirates, Sydney to Dubai, and it was unbelievable. The whole flight was barely any turbulence. The service was great. It was like lined on the inside with like gold, this 2-story thing, huge stairs. It was like a proper hotel, man, in the air. It was insane. Food was great.
How good is it?
Look, premium economy, like, it's not business, but it was bloody nice. Like, I didn't get much sleep because of the, you know how it is sitting upright. It's just tough to get sleep, but dude, it was pretty nice.
Oh, I don't have my bed. Ooh. Fuck's sakes, mate.
Bare market budgets, mate.
Yeah, that's it, bare market budget. So I've actually been on an A380. I realised this. This was in 2008, just when they'd come out, and I flew London to Singapore, and it was amazing. Like, the plane over there was just wrecked. And the one back was like, oh my God, like it had so much headroom, and it had like mood lighting and things were orange, and the screens were huge, and the chairs went back, but it didn't bother you. And like the airflow was great, and you could barely hear anything. The noise was fantastic. Like, every plane needs to be an A380, mate. Like, let's just sort it out. Like,
Melbourne, mate.
Fuck depreciating those assets and increasing the life of them. Bullshit. I want an A380 every single time. Or just build a small version. Like, all these bunky planes we got to bloody fly on, mate. They're just ridiculous. They're bloody half full out of the air when you're going. Like, you drive, bloody flying along, drop down 10 meters, and you can smell old mate taking a shit in the back. It's like, just get me the A380, mate. Even the toilets were nice. They were really big, and you could actually move around. It's like... Mate, they need to sort it out. Like, seriously, like, oi, Joycey, mate, if you're listening in Qantas, just bloody do this. Like, just sort it out. I don't care about your balance sheet. I just want an A380 every time.
I'd love to know how many people, like, what revenues a flight does like that. Like, it had a shitload of passengers and a shitload of staff. It had like 6 pilots, like probably 20, flight attendants. It was a big operation, man.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll do a deep dive into a couple of their balance sheets, because they're publicly listed companies. Because I really like the airplane game and learning about it. But the reality is they earn fuck all money. The fixed costs are insane. It costs a stupid amount of money to buy a plane. The maintenance is insane. There's variability. It's a crazy, crazy business.
Big operations, dude.
Fucking crazy.
Now, I think...
Okay, so you had the A380, mate, and you landed in Dubai, and you've gone to a conference, and during our all hands, you told us about this conference. It sounds very different. Mate, set the scene for us and let us know how it actually runs over there. So Ben was at a conference by himself for 2 days, and what happened?
So it was pretty poorly run, to be fair. It was their first event. It was a Chinese company in Dubai. It was pretty good. It was a Forex finance event, and they paid me to go and speak on crypto. Now, unfortunately, just the way they'd set it up, the stage I was on, no one even knew it was there. So I spoke in front of maybe 4 people. Had to do it because I was getting paid, so I did it. But then we had the booth, and then we had a lot of people come through. And the reason people come to your booth is not for you necessarily, it's for the model that you have to put in the booth. Now, I know for some people that might sound pretty bad, but that just literally is what you have to do. Like, it just sort of came with the booth. Every booth has...
That's the game over there. You have models to attract the people to come in. That's just the way it is.
So
every
booth had a model.
Yeah, and I mean, they might want to come and see you because, I mean, they might not have seen a pasty white man with huge flappy ears before, so that's a bit of a novel thing, mate. You belong in a fucking zoo over there. So you're in the booth, you've got... Left, right, good night. See you later, mate. So you got you in the booth, you've got your model over there, and other booths had like 10, 20 models, right?
Some booths had like heaps of models. But then I had to get a translator, so we had Ali as well. Ali was there, absolute champion. Shout out to Ali. He was like a uni student sort of guy, and he was a translator, so he spoke Arabic, French, Russian, I think maybe a little bit of Brazilian because he's half Brazilian as well. So he was, and
English. What a lad.
So he was translating as people coming over, and dude, it was an eye-opening experience. I'd definitely say the buffet was the highlight. The food there was phenomenal. Absolutely smashed that both days.
This sounds really shit. So you've come off a plane, you've landed at 5 a.m. The grand final was shit. You're away from your mates. You have a shit sleep. You wake up. You bloody walk, you got a sweaty bum crack because it's 50 fucking degrees. You get there and you got to do the whole day by yourself with a translator in a foreign area, give a talk to 4 people, go back the next day, do another thing exactly the same. And then you're out of kilter, you're off routine, you're on a different time zone. You are 4 hours behind me, you're 6 hours behind the rest of the team. No wonder you're feeling like shit.
Yeah, when you put it like,
seriously,
that, yeah. It's been a wild few days, that's for sure.
Yeah. And how long are you staying there for, mate? You around for a while, or what?
2 or 3 weeks, I think. No, there's a global blockchain conference coming up in a couple of weeks, which I'm going to.
That'll be good.
That'll be sick.
That'll be huge. All the crazies go there, right?
It's gonna be loose.
Like, I'm sure BitLord and everyone will be there.
So they don't accept. So this conference, right? They don't accept speakers unless you're paying. So if you're an organic speaker, get lost. To be on a panel. Right, to be one of 5 people on a panel, you have to pay $11,000.
So it goes to the highest bidder. There's going to be a lot of scams there, mate, for sure.
To be a keynote speaker, you have to sponsor the whole event, be one of their million sponsors. To be a keynote speaker and have a 30-minute talk, you need to pay $100,000 to speak for 30 minutes.
Bloody hell. So I take it you're not speaking, right?
I am not speaking. I'm not being on a panel. I'm going as a absolute pleb. Anyway, it'll be fascinating to see. A lot of money here, man. A lot of money.
And speaking about getting out of your comfort zone, you did a talk with Sky Arabia. And before this talk, you had, was it 3 meetings about cultural things? Because this is a completely foreign thing for you to do, man. Tell us about this.
I spoke on Sky News Arabia, which is in Arabic, obviously. So I had a translator. They were talking about Web3 education, so I was on there as a guest, and had a translator that was translating the Arabic presenter into English, so I could hear them live, and then my answers would go back in Arabic. And we had to do a few warm-up sessions beforehand around rules and regulations around what I couldn't say, because Sky News Arabia is owned by the King Saudi Prince, or one of the kings, Saudis, which is very connected with different political parties and whatnot, so I couldn't mention a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But that was surreal. And then on Tuesday next week, or Wednesday, I think, I'm going on the Dubai One TV. So I'm going into the studio down in the downtown Dubai, going into the studio, and doing that. Oh, and I've got doing this. I'm going the Nasdaq presenter. I've got another interview with a Nasdaq presenter next week as well, which will be fascinating. So yeah, it's surreal, man.
Stepping up in the speaker game, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And I couldn't imagine how hard that would be, like hearing them, but then getting it translated, but then saying it back. And you're not the smartest bloke, so it must have been pretty tricky, mate.
I asked him to repeat it a few times. No, dude, literally one of the questions was translated that didn't make any sense, so I just made up the answer. And
Just to make your own
spoke
question.
to some guys that spoke Arabic here in Dubai. They said it came across good. So, but
Oh, that's
I
good.
think takeaway is for me, just take every opportunity that you can.
Yeah.
Paid, not paid, small, medium, large, whatever it is. Just do anything and everything you can. It builds up your experience. Get it recorded. I recorded the speech. So yes, it was in front of 4 people, but I've got that content. It's cool. You just build that in your toolkit, and you become better every time you do it.
Just in the last few years, you have a lot more experience than people twice your age in the things that you've done.
Yeah.
And then if you literally had the intersection of like crypto, raising, talks, owning a company, like all this kind of stuff, it's like there'd be very few people like you with the skill set that you have. Yeah,
I'm very grateful for the opportunities. I think being in crypto, there's not many people out there doing what we're doing. Hats off to my mum and dad. Let me quit school when I was 17. Like everything I've been through, I feel as though it's just been one thing after another. So yeah, it's been a mix of luck and just good timing and just trying to do anything and everything.
All right, so this was the first time we were doing the hard thing, and built into this, we're going to do an accountability of the week, right? So I'm going to bring it up now because fuck it, let's do it, man. I want an accountability of the week, and from you can choose your own accountability, but I want one specifically from you. When are you going to take some time off? I want you to book it in the calendar, man.
Okay, so that's a great question because I sat down with Haley yesterday and we tried to figure that out.
Haley's Ben's PA.
Yeah. I've earmarked, not 1, but 2 days off on the 13th and 14th of October.
It's not enough, mate.
Mate, let's just start with
Your
that.
birthday's on the 16th, isn't it?
I've got a conference to follow.
We'll add a couple of fucking days
I've got
on.
a conference to follow. It's literally, mate, it's impossible, right? Let's just be fucking grateful we had 2 days. So 13th to 14th, keep me accountable.
All right. I'm going to keep you accountable. The listeners are going to keep you accountable.
What's the bet? What happens if...
And we need to come up...
We
need to come up with a penalty, mate.
Oh, fuck.
What's something you fucking hate doing?
Doing this podcast with you, mate.
Oh!
Oof.
Fatality. Jesus. Oh. Mate, right in the feelings. Fucking hell. Oh. Fuck me.
Whack.
That was awesome. All right, we're going to come up with something to keep you accountable. We'll outsource it to listeners. Hit us up on Twitter.
Like $1,000?
No, that's fucked. Because $1,000 is just money. It has to be like
$1,000,
and then it has to go to like your anti-charity, like I don't know, the Nazi something, so we can say that you donated to them, or it has to be like $1,000 that goes to someone who's coming over in November, and you have to watch them like eat all this food while you can't eat. It's got to be punishing, mate.
Okay.
Or it's got to be something brutal.
Right, let's come up with something.
All right, I'm going to think about something. All right, and it's going to mess you up, man. So good, so good.
Right, let's get into let's do meme of the week and meal of the week because
all right,
yeah, we've gone.
All right, we'll do meal of the week first. Do you want to go first, mate? Because
play this video, baby.
You got a little something.
Play this video, baby.
All right.
For the listeners at home,
hold on 2 shakes.
Listeners at home, we're about to play a video of a restaurant I went to last night, and this restaurant here is in Dubai. And for those familiar with Salt Bay,
hey, name drop.
I went to his restaurant last night, and it was phenomenal. I can't even remember what steak I bought. It was like some sort of like 300-gram porterhouse, something like that. Slithered it up in front of me. They slapped it down. Look, play this video, Bergs. He's like looking at looking at me while he's cutting it. He's like chiseling it up. Look at that, looking at me. He's staring at me. He's not even looking at the steak.
Staring down.
And then he just like locks it down. Look at absolute tender, medium. Salt over the elbow. And then he sticks on a knife. puts it up in the air, and just drops it in my mouth. Oh my God. And then I did a little selfie here, Bergs, look at this. Just
Unbelievable.
turned around. I was like, yes.
Oh, look at that head. Look at it. You flick the camera around. You look 60 years old, mate. You look like all those boomers that take selfies on Facebook.
Dude.
Jesus, what a pause.
So see this shirt here, by the way. You know how there's an iron behind me? I spent 25 minutes trying to iron my shirt. I put it on, looked in front of the mirror, and it was fucking, no shit, more crinkled than when it started.
Do you know how to iron a shirt? Like, honestly.
Dreadful. That's why I wear black t-shirts.
Oh, mate, you're going to have to YouTube it or something. Jesus.
Okay, what have you got?
You should just wear it outside in the desert, mate.
What have you got?
All right. Now, Ben, I've been sending you a couple of little photos here and there. I've been on an eating spree, mate, and I only have to pick one. So let's go.
Now, Bergs, just quickly, I've got to run in 7 minutes, man. I've got an investor call.
All right, man. No worries. Let's start off with this. We've got a skewy, mate.
Nice.
So this is a double IPA. It's a Torpedo IPA by Sierra Nevada. Never had it on tap before, but I've drunk a lot of bottles. This was just like, you could taste just like the mango in it and just like the freshest of the hops. And like all the sea hops, like, oh man, it was just delicious. And it was about, I don't know, it was 7% or 9%, but it just drank so beautifully. Lots of carapils in there. You can see the beautiful head on it. So we start off with a skewy and then we go to the restaurant, mate.
Ooh.
One of my favourite beers, Suntory Black. Got one of those,
Guinness.
mate. Sensational. Drink this or Ibisu Black, amazing. Now, this is the first thing we ordered. So it's a Japanese restaurant. Ordered some fried chicken, baby.
Good.
So got some karage there, just to kick us off. And then, mate, this comes out.
Oh my goodness!
Look at this. Okay, so what we've got here, dear listener, is some sashimi. So we've got tuna and we've got salmon, and it's got all these beautiful cut up like accompaniments with it, and it's got this little thing on the side, and they've got dry ice in it. It's just pouring fog.
Dude, that
like
looks like
everywhere. It was amazing. So the tuna was sensational, but my God, the salmon. You put one of those pieces in your mouth and you can taste every band of fat just dissolve. It was incredible. This was sensational. And then the meat comes out. Here we've got the pork belly. It's just nice and fatty, delicious. Marble score 9, oyster blade. Thank you very much. Oh, Ben's video. We've got Wagyu short ribs, which is just, can you imagine being this cow, how fat you would have to be? It's like 99% fat. This is just incredible. Then we've also got like onsen egg to like dip in with a bit of soy sauce, just delicious. Here we are, cooking it up, just chucking it straight on the grill there. Look at that, just perfection. Cooking it all up, and mate, there it is, just served with the rice. So this was yakiniku. This was delicious, and I'm giving this a 9 out of 10, man. And the only reason it didn't get a 10 was because they didn't have that truffle oil dipping sauce that I love, even though it's truffle season. What would you rate Salt Bay, mate? What was that?
9.6. That steak was incredible.
Whoa. Yeah. That is huge, mate. That is insane.
Salt over the elbow was enough for me, mate.
Oh, mate. How good. Have you got
a quick kindness of the week or gratitude of the week?
Ooh, you jump into yours and let me think about mine.
Was there something else you want to knock off before we wrap up?
Meme of the week, mate.
Oh, fuck, I missed meme of the week. Sorry. Jeez,
let's do meme of the week. And of course, this meme of the week is you, mate. Because last week on the pod, you had an insane cramp. You're like, oh, fuck! Like smashing yourself, knocking your coffee over, knocking your mic over. Mate, it was incredible. You got stitched up by the Ape and Berg guys. They were laughing at you. So here we've got, I forget his name from The Simpsons, but the caption is, drinking water after a big night out. And Ben's just like, my goodness, what an idea. Why didn't I think of that? Nice soft one. Got another one as well. We got the red pill and the blue pill. The blue pill is drinking water. The red pill is pounding frothies. And Ben's just got his hand over 10,000 red pills, just sucking down frothies. Then we got the ascending clown. Ben's putting on his clown makeup. He's like, I'll just have a few. Then he starts doing his eye makeup. Maybe just one more. Then he puts his wig on. I'll go out to the after party, but I won't drink, guys. And then he's got his full clown makeup on. Seeing Greg rock up with shots, and he just got annihilated. And he was just a crampy boy the next day. And here's a couple of screenshots, mate. There's you mid-cramp with your mouth open, mate. Look at that. It's like, oh, fuck. Look at that face. You're just clenching your teeth. And the mouth's open again.
Can I just quickly shout out? Greg, back to that meme. Who I was actually at the conference after party dying on a chip. Was choking up my lungs on a chip. Greg's sitting there and he turns to I don't know who it was. He turns to his right and he goes, "Ben can't die. Who's going to pay for the drinks?"
Priorities, baby, priorities. Mate, you sent me a video of you dancing and it was horrendous. And look, we've enough pasting, Ben. I've got this is the true meme of the week. This is
goodness me, that's tight.
Yes, this is the new king, King Charles, and he's got his sausage fingers and he's got that ring on the finger. And mate, no one. Yeah, mate, he's got like massive edema in his hands. They look like chipolatas. And that ring is just choking his finger out. And the caption is, "I'm giving the throne to whoever can pull this ring off my finger." How good.
That's
How
good.
good.
I like that.
Meme of the week, mate. All right, shall we do kindness of the week and then wrap up,
really
mate?
Quick. So my kindness of the week, I was in Sydney, was out for lunch, just buying a bread sandwich of some description, like a Subway, but a local version. Lady comes up, was trying to order a sandwich. Her card wasn't working. She only had Apple Pay, which she was trying to tap it. Denied. She didn't have a wallet. I was like, "It's okay. I've got you." And I just paid. And she was like, the people behind the counter were like, "Oh my goodness, are you sure?" She was like, she didn't know what to do. It was like $12, right? I just paid it. I was like, "It's fine, I got it." And she was like, she went really red. She was like, "Oh my goodness, thank you." Like, it was like a very awkward experience for her. It's like, it's okay. What goes around comes around. All good. And that's
beautiful, man.
It made me feel good. She felt good. Everyone was happy. So, and she didn't have to go home without a sandwich.
So good. And mine was actually a gratitude of the week. Grateful, hilarious after all the stuff we just talked about. Grateful for my mindset. So just willing to give things a go. I'm very self-sufficient. I don't always feel like this, but at the moment, I genuinely feel like there's nothing I can't do and nothing I can't achieve. It's just a very strong mindset. Super grateful for that.
Amazing.
Man, should
Let's
we wrap
it
there?
up. Thank you, everyone, for listening. My name is Ben. Aaron is Aaron. And if you're listening to the Ben and Berg Show, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify if you like the podcast. Please share it with a friend, colleague, family member, whoever you think might be interested. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.